Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the old world. I hope you guys are all doing well, and today, my friends, we're back with a Domination Mode Showdown here in Immortal Empires. It's going to be Karl Franz facing off against Lokhir Fellheart here on the new Domination map, the Black ARK, which I actually really like. I think this is a step in the right direction for giving shooting factions a little bit more play. It's a big, relatively open map, but there's obviously a side contested point and a home field point, so I think it's going to be fine for melee factions as well. They could play defensively on this, and of course overload the side flank with a little bit more mobility, and they have line of sight against shooting from the spawn point. I do like this map quite a bit, and think aesthetically it's also really, really cool. Now, as far as the build goes, it's going to be State Troopers with the Sigmar Sons. Very standard. Obviously, Dark Elves usually have a little bit of an infantry advantage against you, but basic Spearmen with Shield, Sigmar Sons, they trade okay against Druchii infantry. Granted, the Black ARK Corsairs will beat most of them. We have Karl Franz up in the sky to duel the big, scary Dark Elf characters. And, the first game that we're showing here did indeed have to be Franz. It would be wrong if it was anybody else. Silver Bullets, just always a great choice. Good against any of the Dark Elf Cav, Lords, characters. They have relatively good range as well. You can see the range is 150, so they can shoot at repeater crossbows. Life is pretty good with those bad boys. Knights of the Blazing Sun, I figured it's a big map. We need a sweeper unit and a cannon here in the back. Now, one of the big unsung heroes for the Empire in Domination mode is actually the Free Company Militia. So Vanguard points on this map are pretty cool. You can see a Vanguard point up here, and you're able to kind of move on over to objective number 1. We have a Vanguard point here, so both sides actually have a Vanguard point, which can get to those central objectives incredibly quickly, which I think is very, very cool. And here in the back, you can see the standard points as well, so a little bit of a lane here on the side. Now, for the Dark Elf army, it's going to be a battle line of Dreadspears and Black ARK Corsairs with some Witch Elves, most likely to try and rampage my cavalry. And we do have Lokhir up in the sky. So Lokhir isn't obviously like a super competitive choice, but these are just some early games, and we're just playing some fun units and trying to explore things here. And Lokhir, can go fisticuffs with Franz for sure. He's on a big, scary dragon. His stats are pretty good, 61-46 against 56-43. You can see Franz actually does do magic damage now, which is pretty cool. So makes him a little bit more effective against like demons and things like that. Coldwood Knights, very standard stuff. The only thing that's kind of missing from more traditional Dark Elf vs. Empire tools are probably the repeater crossbow cav. We do have a Manticore Summoner too, so taking it back to Warhammer 2 a little bit. Looks like the Manticore Summoning is going to be on, so for all of you guys who played in Warhammer 2 tournaments, you can hear the most horrifying sound that we all know and love, which is the sound of a Manticore Summon being unleashed on the old world. So, Dark Elves moving up. We do have some Sisters of Slaughter here. Sisters have been used against the Empire to relatively decent effect. They have really high melee defense, can buzzsaw through your infantry. Certainly require a little bit of missile focus to bring those guys down. So here you can see Karl Franz scooting up. You'll notice that objectives open up after 2 minutes now, so that's another change to Domination mode. Previously, the objectives opened up at the 3-minute mark, and 2 minutes is kind of the new thing. I kind of wanted a minute and a half, but I'm happy to have it be kind of this time. I think it will be, quick enough for everyone. So I use the Vanguard point to summon out some Pistoliers. I figure I need to start kind of getting some battlefield control. So the Sons of Sigmar are going to be charging across the map to try and intercept the Lokhir, maybe shoot at some of the Sisters. And my opponent here does summon in a Reaper Bolt Thrower, probably to try and counter my cannon and shut that bad boy down. So right now we're just kind of jockeying for position on the side point here. Free Company Militia are going to be moving out. So we do have the Sterling's Revenge, such a cool unit. They do have armor piercing, so I figure they'll be relatively resilient against many Dark Elf threats, including Coldwood Knights with their armor piercing shots. And I'm kind of parking one of the Knights of the Blazing Sun right here to just control that point, while the Pistoliers move up. And, I totally forgot that dragons just have breath attacks here. So Lokhir is going to fly overhead, cannonball shooting into the Sisters, and here comes a breath attack from Lokhir, which actually was able to hit some of my guys despite pulling back. I was like, oh my god, a breath attack that actually did something. Often dragons are just so haggard and terrible, but in that case, they were able to do the trick. So Druchii moving up, getting the objective. I, of course, have my objective number 1. Harpies being summoned in, including the dreaded Crows of Cain. So one of the main tools that the Sons of Sigmar have against flying grass is Pistoliers as well as Knights of the Blazing Sun. So Blazing Sun Knights going to be standing by, and the Silver Bullets also going to be blasting into the Crows of Cain up on the high ground, whereas on the low ground here, Coldwood Knights looking to contest the objective, but they will be out-captured by the Sterling's Revenge, so we will see what kind of damage these bad boys can get done. Pistols out for Sigmar, baby! Shooting into the Coldwood Knights. Big damage from those pistol volleys, but they're going to be eating a charge as well. And the Knights of the Blazing Sun have been called from around the corner, and they're going to be getting a fat counter charge on these bad boys for Sigmar. Obviously, this is an early access build, so you can see a little bit of a graphic glitch on those guys. So obviously development in progress. But that was pretty cost effective. We were able to hammer the Coldwood Knights, but my opponent here does have several Coldwood Knights moving in, as well as repeater crossbows. So a little bit of a precarious situation for my boys. I might end up losing this side objective against the Dark Elf Onslaught. Now, Pistoliers still scooting up, able to finish off the Crows of Cain. We did finish off the other ones as well using the Knights of the Blazing Sun. Thinking about maybe going after the Reaper Bolt Thrower, but some of the Dread Spears going to be moving over to defend, and Lokhir Fellheart also eyeing the prize as well. Karl Franz hasn't really been able to kind of figure out where he wants to go quite yet, but I do kind of pull the trigger and decide to send him over to the side objective. We summon in some State Troopers in the back, so some of the basic spears will be moving in. And Sterling's Revenge, heavily outmuscled here, but still fighting. True badasses here. You can see their stats are pretty good. 32, 36, 28. Obviously, they don't have good armor piercing, but they're doing all right. And more Free Company Militia have been summoned in the back. They're going to be firing some overlapping shots into the Coldwood Knights, who are shielded, mind you, so it's not going to just drag them down, but so far, very happy with the Free Company Militia. The Vanguard on them is so good, and they obviously have high-quality capture weight. And Karl Franz, just like in the cinematic trailer, is going to be descending on his foes. Deathclaw crushing as Galmaraz is wielded up in the sky. The Reikland Runefang activated, and the Sterling's Revenge are going to be rallied by the charge of the Emperor as they push back the Dark Elf units. I mean, that's got to be one of the cooler kind of cinematic moments we've got in quite some time. Free Company Militia, look at that. Getting plus 24 leadership in total from Karl Franz. Sigmar manifested here on the battlefield. Franz going to be going fisticuffs against these Dark Elf Cav. That was actually a very crucial play, because now that's going to be opening up this point. Franz is going to take a little bit of damage, but it's just buying time for my Spearmen and Knights of the Blazing Sun to rally and come back. And once they get on that point, we should be able to get it. Now, up here in the hills, it's a very pitched fight. We have the Pistoliers skirmishing with the Crows of Cain. Knights of the Blazing Sun shooting in here, or charging in, I should say. Cannon still online in the back. Harpies will probably get that bad boy down, but the Silver Bullets have been an absolute menace. Dark Elves definitely need to get some like Dark Riders and try and penetrate into my lines and shut down that shooting. Nice breath attack coming in from Lokhir Fellheart. Dragons continuing to be the haggard beasts that they are. And of course the Witch Elves are going to make very quick and decisive work here against my Spearmen with shields. Now, looking at objective number 3, we see the 2 Free Company Militia moving up under the cover of Franz. Franz still anchoring with the Knights of the Blazing Sun, but these Sigmarites hailing from Reikland, backed up by the Emperor, certainly feeling pretty juiced. We do have some Sisters of Slaughter, but they're not going to do very well against shock cav charges. They're lightly armored. The charge bonus mitigates much of their defense, and the firepower from the 2 Free Company Militia is able to force those guys back. So we see the Sisters of Slaughter getting hunted, as now we get the Black Guard moving in, which isn't a bad choice, honestly. I don't really have anything in this pocket that is actually good against Blackguard except Sterling's Revenge. But we're also winning on the high ground engagement. So Sigmar Sons, Madness of Cain is indeed active. We see a Manticore summon coming in here from the Dark Elves. So Lokhir Fellheart's in a little bit of danger, you know. The Sons of Sigmar might be able to actually take over this Black Ark and banish it back from the seas from whence it came. So we can kind of envision this being a Black Ark raiding the coast of the Empire, and Franz leads out an expeditionary force to try and take it down. Silver Bullets able to get away. Now you're going to see another MVP unit in this mode, which is the grenade launchers. They're back here somewhere, yes. So grenade launchers are just excellent at clearing out infantry on big open maps like this when people are marching infantry to various points. If you have the mobile control, grenade launchers can just do so much work. Now, Dark Elves are up on points. They had a 2 cap on us for quite some time, but now we are getting a triple cap on them, and it's going to be very, very tough for the Druchii to come back from this, considering they're also down by about 3,000 value at this point. We had a big value lead. State Troopers here, obviously not happy fighting these ancient, well, I guess elves, compared to men and humans, I suppose, are very, very old, but yeah, we're trying our best to hold as the Free Company Militia back up the State Troopers there. It's really just about buying time. Franz going to be battling Lokhir. The dreaded duelist is active. I could actually say dreaded and have it make sense. It is on. Franz and the Big Dragon are battling here on the Black Ark. 29, 81 HP. Franz doing pretty good. He's got some backup as well. Certainly a very unchivalrous, unfair fight, but I don't think the Empire cares that much about like chivalry and things like that. They're more about just like, defeating the bad guys. Like, I don't know if they go to like really, really like horrible lengths like the Skaven, using these mortars and things like that, but I guess what's the difference? Mortars, burning fire, it's all in the ballpark, right? Manticore summon in. Lokhir Fellheart, a little bit of danger. He is getting run down by the Knights of the Blazing Sun, 90 HP, and the brave Knights of the Empire look to be finishing off this mighty dragon, and Lokhir Fellheart suffering the same fate that most dragon characters do, just being put in the trash can. Now, Karl Franz gets a fat regrowth, able to hammer down that Sorceress of Beasts. Here on the other side, grenade launchers going to be picking off the reinforcements. So you can see the damage that the grenade launchers did was able to actually keep those bleak swords from even getting to the point. And as soon as they actually arrived, they were just terror-routed by Karl Franz, which is crazy strong. Knights of the Blazing Sun going to be moving up, and we do see the Silver Bullets in the back, pushing back the Feral Manticore. More Harpies moving in, but we do have some elite cav here. Grenade launchers just so good in this meta. I mean, grenade launchers against factions like Nurgle is just going to be so gross. I feel like Nurgle will for sure struggle into a lot of these like new shooting factions. I think that's going to be changing the meta quite a bit for sure until they get some new stuff. Now, Bleak Swords here. continuing to get blasted by the grenade launchers. Harpies coming in to intercept. We have the triple cap on these bad boys. Franz just kind of cleaning up shop. We do have the Black Guard down here, and the State Trooper is actually holding pretty well. We were able to push back the Sisters of Slaughter. Royal Altdorf Griffites came out. I figured that we could maybe get like a rear charge on them and break their leadership, or either sweep them up into the back lines to fight these Coldland Knights. But the Royal Altdorf Griffites are just going to be posturing behind the Black Guard, and we'll be getting a rear charge. Franz, his favorite thing in the game, of course, is getting regrowth, so Franz is going to be loving those, while the remnants of the Sigmar Sons, all 9 of them, fighting to the bitter end. Here comes the Royal Altdorf Griffites. This is actually how I'm going to be painting my Demogryph Knights in tabletop, which is going to be quite a bit of fun. But they have sallied forth. Demogryph Knights are just such a cool unit. Look how awesome they are. And here they come, moving into the back of the Black Guard. They have their halberds couched, I suppose, and claws out, and the Black Guard going to be getting sandwiched super hard by a huge, huge Sigmarite charge. And that's one of the other cool things about like bigger maps like this, is that you can actually pull off flanks, right? Like in many domination maps, they're so small that he would be able to just summon in like a unit to counter me. But like I was able to outflank, move around, and I think on like bigger maps, you really see a lot more of that style of play. Now, Free Company Militia, including the Sterling's Revenge, who've been going since the beginning of the game, have their pistols lowered, ripping a ton of shots into these Black Guard here. Just beautiful, beautiful Steel Faith and Gunpowder. And that is going to be the end of the Druchii and a victory for Reichland and the Emperor. Really fun match. Obviously, the Dark Elves brought some really fun units as a showcase, but hopefully you still enjoyed getting to see the new map, as well as how these factions, and get some ideas of what they could potentially do. Lokhir still got 1,600 fighting Franz. Franz himself got 12, so Lokhir did do more damage. Breath attacks, a little bit of sustained fighting, but Knights of the Blazing Sun were excellent. Silver bullets, 2,000 value on those. I mean, they basically sold Lokhir. And Free Company Militia, dude, don't sleep on those units. They're going to be really good. I had an excellent replay with Dov where I played Nurgle against his Empire, which will be, I'll have it up in a couple days. It might be up on his channel already, where we saw the real power of Free Company Militia, capturing as well as killing things. But yeah, really, really cost effective. And overall, man, I'm just so excited to play the Empire. And, now that cultists have been nerfed as well, like I feel like shooting is going to be a little bit better. And I really, really, really hope Creative Assembly keeps taking this direction with their maps, where they're like a little bit bigger. I don't mind a little bit of terrain and line of sight blocking. That's cool. It adds some spice, but just like it allows you to just have more plays, right? Like, whereas if they're just tight, if somebody gets into your backfield and you're not prepared for it, you could just like summon something to stop it. So it's not like quite as engaging for me, but still really fun. Well played to my opponent. We'll see you guys next time. Immortal Empires, baby. It's on the horizon. We're going to keep showing as many replays as we possibly can. And that is it for tonight.